So, now, let's move on back to the main story by speaking with Alphino to take on the quest entitled A Welcome Guest. Alphino looks just about ready to leave you behind. We mustn't dally here any longer, Shinji. If Beq Lugg is to hear the truth of all travails in the first, two of all people should be present. Not in any hurry. So off to the Costarium? Oh, did Washington... I was about to say, did Washington just hit a home run? But no. Alright. Since we don't need to be in combat gear for a while, let's go ahead and change back to street clothes. Time to head over back to the Costarium and head to the Ocular. Going in. So time to be reunited with everyone. Yeah, they're definitely talking about this situation at length. Yeah. As our new friend ponders the situation, we've arrived.
I'm sorry. You mean to tell me not only that the return of night was your doing,
That's right.
but that you hail from another world as well?
Indeed. Yeah, it's a lot to wrap your head around, isn't it?
Of the source, the shards, the 7 umbral calamities, all of it is true. I realize how fantastical it sounds, and I would not blame you for doubting our testimony. But given your expertise, you must surely have noted the peculiar nature of their souls.
Any other time and I would have dismissed your stories as balderdash and flummery. But upon closer inspection, 'tis plain their souls are far denser than is normal, and that they do not possess true bodies.
Nope.
Save you. Your body is your own.
Guilty as charged.
And your soul is the densest of them all.
Yeah, why are we giving her that look?
As I said before, were it not for their heroism, the skies over Norvrant would still be awash with light, the realm yet at the mercy of Vorthri and the Sin Eaters. After all they have done for our home, seeing them safely back to their own, it seems the very least we can do.
Think you can help us out?
Your tale is intriguing. Yes, very intriguing indeed. Simply to hear it is fitting payment in itself. As for your friends, I can but agree. Their valorous deeds on behalf of Norvrant are deserving of recognition, of their own fitting payment.
Well, thank you.
You will help us then?
I will. I would see my knowledge put to good use for a change.
Excellent.
I do have one condition, however.
Sure.
I'm not the spry young Numo I once was. As such, I will require assistance in my fieldwork and testing.
Alright.
It would be our pleasure. We'll be laboring for our own benefit after all.
Yeah, let's see what we can do. And so now we'll speak with Beq on our own. Yes, she mulls it over. You have spun quite a tale, but tell me, have you given any thought as to how you might return to your world? Yeah, the Exarch will explain everything. White Order site, you say? An intriguing proposition. But one which fails to account for the present state of your souls. They have become highly charged, likely as a consequence of having maintained tangible forms for so long. In such an energetic, unstable state, there is no telling what may happen to their souls within the Aura site. They could very well become immutable to transference, never to be restored to their bodies. So what do we do? Then would it be possible to force our souls into a state of dormancy prior to transference? In theory, yes, but the soul is not a candle to be snuffed out and relit on a whim. Well, that sounds ominous. What exactly would rendering our souls dormant entail? In order to maintain a corporeal form, your souls constantly draw ether from your surroundings. This process must be halted and the resulting surfeit of ether removed. Your minds would ultimately be separated from these faux bodies of yours, rendering you incapable of interacting with the world around you. A cruel fate under normal circumstances, but one which will be rectified upon your return home. And so, leaving lifeless husks, like those poor souls at the inner journey's head, corrupted by the sin eaters, the aether made stagnant by the light. Corrupted? Stagnant? Might I see these unfortunate individuals? Why? Do you think you might be able to help them? I might, or I might not, but I shan't know for sure until I've seen their condition firsthand. Alright, then I'll be glad to take you to them, on the understanding that you won't do anything which might increase their suffering. It was my faith in man I lost, not my compassion. Well, I see no need for all of us to accompany you. While you escort our guests to the inn, I will assist Oriange in recreating the requisite Aura site. Alright. I believe my talents will be better applied to that endeavour as well. Might I leave the three of you to assist Beq Lugg as necessary? I believe we can. Let us make for Amareng then. Indeed we must. My server is Exodus, so I believe you and I are on the same server. Or not on the same server, the same data center. Yeah, if I remember correctly, Lamia was not moved over during the realignment. Alright, so we've arrived here at Journey's Head, so over here is the Throng of Humanity, who we're going to try and find Beq. Yeah, here she is, hiding behind the pillar. As we take a look at the little Aura boy who Alice tried to help out earlier and who Tesleen sacrificed herself to save. So this is Holwick, is it? Yes, his etheric balance leads perilously toward the light. Towards stasis. What do you suppose will happen to him? Not too bright, are you, boy? The same as all poor souls corrupted by the lights. He will become a sin eater. You don't know that. We've defeated the wardens and banished the light from the night sky. Holwick was completely unresponsive before, but now... Well, still kind of mute. And tries to say something, but we can't hear him. Then perhaps there's yet hope. If I may, there is a treatment I wish to administer to the patients. What sort of treatment? In the course of my studies of the soul, I once created a tonic which could temporarily stimulate the ether in one's body. After some refinements, it came to be used by the Knights of Volbert. Then, for far darker purposes. Lest it fall into the wrong hands, I swore never again to make it. But for their sakes, I will break that oath. It is not like to reverse the stagnation, mind you, but it should offer some measure of relief. Well, let's hope so. Alright. Gotcha there, CL. Thank you. So, yeah, if you're able to, CL, let other people know about what's going on my channel. I'd certainly appreciate it. Also, I have a Twitch channel that's... there's a link to it on the homepage of my YouTube page. And I'm going to be doing a run of Final Fantasy XIV New Game Plus for charity on Saturday. So if you know of anyone who'd be wanting to make a donation for a good cause, I would certainly appreciate it. So yeah, as we give the tonic that Beq gave us, that she somehow made out of thin air. What is this warmth I feel in my chest? Yeah, Todden didn't respond to the tonic as well as Pondel did. And what about Voin over here? I feel warm, and my legs, they don't feel as heavy. Yeah, of course there's CL. And so now back over to Beq. So time to let you know what we came up with. Now then, have you noted any change in the patients? A notable rise in body temperature and increased motor function, in most of the patients at least. The more severely afflicted show no response. So what do we do? As I feared then. 'Tis true that with the restoration of night, the corrupting influence of light will no longer grow. And yes, their bodies will naturally return to equilibrium given time. But this holds true only for their corporeal ether. Their incorporeal ether, that of the soul, is not so easily mended. Which is why those in the later stages of corruption like Holwick appear unaffected by your tonic. Precisely. So what do we do? Is there another way? The boy's soul is too far gone. His mind held together by the finest of threads. There is a chance he may one day recover, of course, but it could take years. Decades, even. By the gods, he can wait to find himself an old man. A fine reward for his persistence, the opportunity to mourn the life he never had a chance to live. No, there must be something we can do. Look, I realize this is not why we petition your aid, but do you think it possible we can find a way to hasten their recovery? Maybe. How we go about it? Nor do I think it's impossible that in treating them we might learn something of relevance to your own predicament. Well, we'll find out soon enough, as we take 1500 gil. We also have the option of rare roast beef, which is for tanks, creamy salmon pasta, which is for DPS, and king salmon meuniere, also for DPS. We'll go ahead and take the pasta. And so, now that we've got that taken care of, Beq Lugg will give us our next main story quest. So let's take it, entitled Good for the Soul. Beq Lugg is ready to speak of the metaphysical. I suspect the Crystal Exarch has told you of my past, that I was once a mage of the royal court of Robert, and that soulcraft was my field of study. The tonic you administered to the patients here is one of the fruits of my labors. I hoped to do great things for the kingdom. But in the end, my knowledge brought only suffering, a plague the like of which none had ever seen. In the hands of unscrupulous men, what should have been my greatest triumph, instead became my greatest shame. You mustn't dwell on the past. Now you have a chance to redeem yourself, or at least the Warriors of Light brought those responsible to justice. Well, let's give her as much positive feedback as we can. That, I do, a comforting thought indeed. But let us return to the task at hand, finding a means by which we might revitalize these people's incorporeal ether. Do you think it can be done? Were the sky still ablaze with primordial light, I would call it an exercise in futility. But now we may have a chance. The method I have in mind will entail the conjuring of a familiar. They are able to amplify the energies poured into them, making them the perfect conduit for the aether revitalizing magics we will ultimately employ. If you're about to launch into a lengthy explanation of the metaphysics of your plan, don't bother. I'd rather get on with doing whatever it is that needs to be done if it's all the same to you. Whatever reagents must be procured or spells invoked, I'll do it. Yeah, not wasting any time, are we? I admire your spirit. Very well. Your first task will be to gather the necessary materials. The purest of waters and finest of clays, as well as a fey lantern brimming with pixie magic. If you're convinced the resourcing familiar can help the patients, fine. Alphino, the water and clay will be simple enough, but I think you know what we'll have to do to get the lantern. You don't mean... The pixies took quite a liking to us before. If we humor them with our company, I'm sure they'd be willing to help us. Thanks, Seal, I appreciate it. Fine, we'll pay a visit to Meg, though I never thought you'd be the one to suggest going back there. I'm impressed you've been there at all, let alone befriended the Fey folk. Oh, while you're about it, seek out the new Moo of Plahenny. They will be able to supply you with water suitable for our needs. Right, let's get this over with, shall we? And so, away they go. There still remains the matter of the clay. Might I prevail upon you to find it? Of course. So now we know what we gotta do. So, speak with Beq again. Clay from Omarang would likely be best. Know you of anyone who might be able to assist us? And we can choose the miners at Twine or the scavengers at Moored Suit, but yeah, let's ask the miners. Oh yes, they will be able to point you in the right direction, I'm sure. While you and the twins are occupied, I will see if there's aught else I can learn of the stagnation which afflicts the people here. Alright then, so off to Twine. Yeah, I knew I wanted to do something with Final Fantasy XIV for my Extra Life stream on Saturday, but I really didn't know what I wanted to do with it. I knew that New Game Plus was being implemented, but I wasn't quite sure how it was going to be implemented until just a few days ago. So yeah, here's Magnus. It's been a while since we've spoken to him, and thankfully he's sober now. Shinji, well, what a coincidence. You've come at a good time. We've just this moment finished repairing the Talos and trolley you lot took to Nabatharang. The trolley was no trouble, but the Talos would have been another matter had we not a visit from Master Chai. He offered us a share of the leftover building materials from Delala's Stoneworks, as well as a few trade secrets to help us along. Clever man that Chai knows. He seemed pretty keen on the ideas I had for putting the giant Talos to work. Like a giant trolley, but Magnus still refuses to see all the good we could do with it. Yeah, you're entitled to your dreams, jerk, but that doesn't mean you can go harassing our guests with them. Master Chai was just being polite. And something tells me Shinji here didn't come all this way to talk about trolleys. What is it you need, friend? Well, this is what we need from you guys. I see, and this familiar requires clay from Omarang. Well, look no further. If anyone can find you some quality clay, it's us. Saying that, it isn't exactly a commodity nowadays, but there must be some lurking somewhere or other, waiting to be dug up. If I'm not mistaken, there was a time when they used to take clay from Mount Biron mines to make adobe bricks. Place is swarming with coyotes now. But if you're after the good stuff, you could do worse than to look there. So yeah, definitely a situation where combat will be required. And thanks, Seal, that means a lot. Okay, so off we go to Mount Biron Mines. One of the many places in this part of Omarang named after characters from Final Fantasy X, the Ronsil to be precise. And of course, Biron was one of Kimahri's rivals that we had to beat up on Mount Gagazet. So here's our first spot where we're gonna check for some pristine clay. But we may have to fight for it. I was about to say, what's this thing waiting for? Yeah, he took his sweet time coming to say hi. Thankfully, I was able to get what I needed before he made his move. Yeah, he was one of the rare nice enemies who was like, okay, I can see you're trying to get some clay. I'll wait and then I'll fight you. Yeah, not often you come across someone like that. And finally over here. Yeah. He's got a coyote, I've got a coyote, let's help each other out. Yeah, everyone's jumping in. Yeah, they all are getting an idea of what's to come for them when they try and forge for this play too. Okay, we don't need to turn this stuff back over to Twine, so we can go right back to the inn. Yeah, will of course be very crowded. Alright, let's turn this over to Beq. The twins have returned, and in one piece of that. I was convinced the pixies would turn at least one of them into a garden ornament, but no. Yeah, what a relief. You have the clay, I take it? Indeed we do. There you go. Wonderful. We need but combine the clay in the water, then heat the mixture with the Fey Lantern. After that, it will be a simple matter of settling upon a suitable form and performing the necessary incantation. Beq Lugg, I have a question. In the event that we have need of this spell and you weren't around, would it be possible for another to perform the incantation? Assuming they possess the requisite skill, yes. Hollock and the others have suffered so much, and I was swore I'd to do everything in my power to save them. If there's a chance this spell could do that, I would be the one to invoke it. Mayhap you should be the one to do so. It does make sense in this situation. A deep understanding of the subject's physical state, combined with a strong desire to help them, can drastically increase the magic's effect, and you are plainly more familiar with these people than I. I dare say there are few in all of Norvrand more dedicated to finding a cure. Is that not so, Shinji? Absolutely, she's the best one for the job. Or very few, but if Ashigor Rai, I'll see what I can do. No, we want to give, I'd say, all the confidence in the world here. I'll give it my all. For Halric, for Tesleen. Then we all of all have a mind on the matter. Alice shall be the one to conjure the familiar. And so, let's see what we can do. I always feel similar sentiments when teamed up with other Dragoons. There's Ciel, that's cool.
Begin.
Yes, let us begin.
I trust you've prepared the clay?
All set to go. That's prepared?
Very good. Now, I would have you sculpt for me a porksy.
Oh, so she has to be the one to do it?
Plump, with floppy ears and a short curly tail.
Yeah, Alice is looking at her like, what?
A porksy. I think I know what you mean.
That doesn't sound very confident. And so, away she goes. So sometime later...
There we are. How's that?
Your thoughts?
Well, it is certainly creative. There's no denying that.
Yeah, even Shinji's trying to not crack in laughter.
Yes, I'm no artist. Very funny.
Yeah, trying to stay composed.
Pay him no mind, child. Though it may look like a grotesque parody of reality, it is what the invoker believes that matters.
You're not helping.
Okay, that's worth a laugh.
But I speak the truth. If successful, this incantation will turn imagination into reality. Which is why the only thing of import is what you believe this figure embodies. You must focus. Hold the Porksy's image steady in your mind's eye.
So you think you can do it there, Alice?
As I taught you, relax and allow your energies to flow.
Show us what all you can do.
With flesh of clay I bid thee rise, on wings of dreams to touch the skies. What once was idle fantasy, I call forth to reality.
Certainly has quite a glow on it. Hey, she did it! Yeah, there we go.
Not bad for a first attempt. Now, let us see what can be done for young Halric.
Yeah, what will happen when we use this on him? Yeah, we're gonna give him instructions, and then we have to physically stand him up.
Through the operation of the magics you invoked to animate this familiar, it is now replete with the energies required to stir the boy's soul. You need but give it a name, and it will do as your heart desires.
Yeah, she has to name her little familiar. And I'll be honest, the name she gives it was not the one I was expecting.
All right, I've decided. Now.
And so...
Go, Angelo!
Yeah. Named it Angelo. I was expecting her to name it Tesleen. And so, Angelo does his thing. Gives Halric a little bit of a glow. And so, what happens? Hi there. Yeah, we're looking at you.
Mother...
Wow, he actually spoke. And he's even crying too. But it's not tears of light, thankfully. Yeah, he's not leaking light like Tesleen did. But yeah, is it the first step towards future success? We'll find out soon enough. Let's speak with Alice to complete the quest. How is the Beq Lugg? Did it work? I believe it did. You and your fledgling familiar have done well. If my eyes do not deceive, a hint of colour has returned to his soul. God, I would jump for joy if I weren't so exhausted. We're so close now, Halric. As you are even now in the process of discovering, this magic asks much of the invoker. What you may not have realized is that the same is also true of the subjects. As such, we must proceed with caution. However, with further treatment, I have the utmost confidence the boy will make a full recovery. Observing the reanimation of his stagnant soul has been most enlightening. I will need time to put my theories to the proof, but I believe I can fashion a spell to produce the opposite effects. That is, to induce stagnation. Thus enabling our safe transport back to the source via Orsite. A thought occurred to me about this treatment. Beq Lugg said that when the soul is rendered dormant, the mind is separated from the body, that a person becomes incapable of interacting with the world around them. Does that not sound like a lot like some of the tempered back in the source? Not really. It is the fate of most Templars to become slaves to primals, save in a handful of cases. Or am I missing something? If I can master this technique, the art of revitalizing the soul, I know of at least one in the source who could desperately use such treatment. And who is she referring to? Yeah, someone that Corinne knows and someone that Mathia knows. Gabu. Exactly! His condition is uncannily similar to Halrick's, is it not? The only difference being that his soul is suffused with earth-aspected aether instead of light. It follows that if his soul is subject to a similar kind of stagnation, there may be a chance we can save him, right? Forgive me, but who is this Gabu fellow of whom you speak? Well, we would need to explain it to you in detail. I see. His condition does sound similar, yet there is much and more about the soul that remains unknown even to me. I say this not to discourage you, you understand, but to remind you that this is delicate work we do here. Work requiring patience. Of course, and as long as there is hope for the patients here, I will devote whatever time is needed to see this through. But I refuse to spend that time in idleness. If it's all the same to you, I'd like to stay here with Angelo and continue with their treatment. The two of you should return to the Custodian with Beq Lugg and see if you can't make some headway with their newly posited theories. I would tell you to rest first, but I see you're not to be convinced. Ah, the fire of youth. Let us return to the Custodian then. Finally, I found you! Who goes there? Yeah, Kai Shear? Yeah, Kai Shear, what are you doing all the way out here? There's trouble back in Yulmore. Lady Chai's beside herself, sighing, pacing the whole lot. Near enough begged me to go and find you. Sighing and pacing, you say? It must be urgent. I take it I will be returning to the Custodian alone. Go on then. It's not as if I have anything for you to do. Thank you, Beq Lugg. Alright then. So away she goes. Sorry for bothering you and all that, but she says the future of Yulmore's at stake. Is it that bad? Well, we'll find out soon enough, won't we?